Okay, proof of notice, Kim? Okay, proof of quorum. Proof of quorum. We have all 7 board members here, general manager. President's remarks. Although the most recent national and state elections campaign is now well over and people are getting ready for inaugurations and take office and that sort of thing, the Heritage Pines political season is nigh, and I believe that the nominating committee, nomination elections committee, is planning to put out an announcement of candidates right after the holidays, and there will be a period of sign up in early to mid-January for candidates, and there will be normal election campaign. I think there are at least 1 and 2 candidate forums scheduled in February. Again, contrast to previous years. Contrast to previous years, the annual meeting will not be held at the end of January. It will be held at the end of February this year. That's the reason for the change in the political season. So, welcome, obviously, because it run for office for open spots.
Here, try this to see if you talk it through, it won't do that.
Anyway, I was saying, that the political process, or whatever you care to call it, the elections will take place next year, and the annual meeting will be at the end of February instead of end of January as in the past. So be looking for that announcement if anybody wants to, to sign up to run for one of the 4 spots that will be open this year. They usually alternates 4 one year and 3 the other, 3 the next. Now I would like, on behalf of the board of directors, to wish everybody a wonderful holiday season, to not only my fellow board members, but to all of you as residents, to committees, to the staff. We've got a wonderful staff, and we appreciate all that they've done, as well as all the efforts on the part of the board, the committees, and all the volunteers that we have. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to the general manager for his remarks.
Welcome, everyone. We have a special guest in the audience, at least for Gary and I, Larry. Mark is here. Please stand up. Mark is the superintendent that oversees the Bob Carroll construction project. Phase 1 is complete. All we have to do to make the permit right is to build the bathrooms down in the wood shop. And I'd just like to thank Mark. He came in ahead of schedule, and the quality of the project was exceptional. That's all I have, Bill.
Okay, financial report, Kevin.
Okay, again, what I'll do, I guess what I normally do is I'll give the results for the 11 months through November versus budget, and then I'll do the same numbers 11 months this year versus 11 months last year. So through November of this year, the operating income for the association, and this in layman's terms is sort of we have excess revenue. In other words, we took in more revenue than what we spent on the operating basis. So the surplus through 11 months is a little bit over $312,000, which means, therefore, that we are about $282,000 better than budget. Revenue, again, as I normally report, is we're a little short on revenue by about $36,000 through November, but it's made up by paying $318,000 under on expenses. So the net of those two get us to $282,000 better than budget. And again, those numbers versus last year, the $312,000 that we made this year, last year at this time we made $147,000. So the association is doing $165,000 better than last year. In terms of revenue versus last year, once again, we're a little bit shy, about $58,000 lower this year than last year. But again, the expenses are $224,000 lower than last year. So once again, the net of those two gets us to $165,000 better than last year. And the cash position, our operating cash, this is exclusive of the money in the reserve fund. The operating cash balance as of November was a little bit over $660,000. Pretty good shape. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions from the board of Kevin? Comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the November 17th, 2010 board meeting. Any discussion, questions, comments, changes? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the November 19th, 2010 board budget meeting. Board discussion, changes, comment? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I'm sorry.
I abstained. I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay. Okay. Motion carries, yes, semi. Okay. New business. Approve replacing 3 utility cargo carts from reserve in the amount of $22,884.31. Bill Berthold.
This has been approved by the Reserve Committee. It's 2 carts that are going to Valley Crest and 1 that we're replacing with the Facilities Department of Gary. They are scheduled replacements.
I'll entertain a motion to approve that. Any board discussion? Any resident comment? I'm sorry, Bob, go ahead.
I guess I ask this every month. I'm going to keep beating this drum. Whenever there's a budget request, the form that was developed a couple of years ago requires you to identify the urgency of the request, the nature of the bids, the disposition of the items that are being replaced. And every month, that information seems to be lacking. You usually get that information after the fact. Same situation here. There's no description of what the urgency is, whether it has to be replaced or is it just scheduled to be replaced. There's no identification of what the disposition of the used items are. It's come up a couple of times with some other items that we approved, and then a couple of weeks later we get some requests for approval of disposing some of the items. I would like to see that with the request. And I really don't appreciate playing 20 questions up here trying to extract the information.
This is the same form we've been using for the past 2 years. It was approved by the board and the finance committee. We use it for both reserve and we use it for capital. This is not a different form, so if you'd like to get with me and show me what you want us to change on it, I'd be more than willing to try to meet your questions. I don't want to do this, but I'll change the form, but the form is completely filled out with the questions that are asked.
I have the form that says background. This is the one that's in the committee guidelines, the one that I'm referring to. And under background, it says include any legal or contractual commitments, number of bids or estimates, type of contract, details of coverage, price, rationale for sole source contract, urgency, and it used to say before disposition of the replaced item.
Okay, we'll take a look at it. This is the scheduled replacement though, and this we're not required to 3-bid anything that's less than $500,000, and that is 10% of the operating and reserve budget.
No, I'm not challenging the information, okay, or the credibility of the information. I'm just saying that information is never presented to us when you submit the request.
Okay, if you'll meet with me and go through it, I'll adjust the form so we address those issues. Is that okay, Bob? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, is there any further board comment or discussion? Any resident comment? All in favor? I'm sorry.
Okay, put this in the form of a comment. I didn't catch what you were doing over
I'm going to make this a comment. I didn't understand what was said about the 3 utility carts and what we were getting and where they were going. There was something about Valley Crest, 2 carts, 1 cart.
Okay, it's real simple. 2 of the Valley Crest carts in their fleet are obsolete and we are replacing them. 1 cart in the facilities fleet is obsolete and we are replacing it.
Any further resident comment? Further board comment?
I have
I want us to, I want to understand, are we comfortable when we have passed the Miller-Dodson report? When we've gotten the Miller-Dodson report, this is on here. Bob, I ask you, does that meet part of your requirement?
Initially, I had that thought process, but I was told repeatedly that that is just the shopping list and doesn't necessarily indicate everything that's going to be done. And everything would be evaluated throughout the year to see if it's still warranted to be replaced, reprocured, or disposed of.
Okay, just so you can look on that form for everyone, that if you look, there are several carts at $9,000. It's broken up into doing 3 a year to get us through, so we're not doing it all in one time. These are failing carts, so it was justified for us to go ahead with the carts this year. I mean, for this month.
Yeah, that's not my issue. Yeah,
I understand. I just want you to feel comfortable with what we're doing, because otherwise we'll be putting out many thousands of dollars at one time to replace all the parts.
Yeah, that's not my issue. All you have to do is just put it on the form so that we have an understanding that that's the situation.
Okay.
Okay, I think we've beaten this one to death. Any further comment?
Neil, I come to this meeting every time, and I feel like I get beat up by not doing the process right. Now, what I would like permission to do is meet with Bob and get this ironed out so I don't feel embarrassed every time I show up here. I do the best job I can for everybody on this board. And I just get tired of getting the hell beat out of me every time I show up at this meeting.
Any further comment?
regarding the charts. Is that what we're talking about?
Care to come up here, please?
Did we just completely waive the sign-up rule for signing up ahead of the board meeting this week?
Yes, I just wanted to comment that in good business practices, you should definitely have some kind of a format for obsoleting old carts. It was definitely not until this discussion was opened. It was not clear, other than we're replacing 3 old carts with 3 new carts. Janice clarified that somewhat, but it needs to be clarified upfront in writing, as Mr. Ferris says, what's going out, what's coming in, and why.
Any further comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item number 2, approve additional funds for project management capital in the amount of $3,719.53 and final invoice for Phase 1 project managers invoice from capital in the amount of $8,300. Roberto?
This has been modified. We're just asking for the $37,1953. What that is, we're moving the $8,300 to the next approval. The $8,300 was work Holly did exclusively on the bathroom expansion that we needed to do to get the Phase 1 permit done. Every single item on that bill is for the bathroom. So